I'd like to talk about presence. And presence is sort of an interesting thing when it comes to game development, and it's a word you hear tossed around a lot with association to VR, because part of the way to sell convincing VR is creating presence. And I'm sure the term means different things to different people in different contexts, but I'm not going to talk about just in the VR sense, but more in the general sense of a game. So the idea is you want to make people feel like they are present in the game world, and certainly going back to VR, this is things like if you look down, you see your body. When you turn your head, the camera moves. Those things are things that sell presence. And I think that presence is actually a lot more than just, VR and just selling a compelling experience for that. So, like, for example, I think presence can be sort of extended into a lot of things, a lot of different aspects of the game, and even things outside the game. So, like, for example, presence, an interesting sort of presence why am I sounding like that? Something cool that I've seen developers do with presence is, like, if you look at the game Classroom Aquatic. So in Classroom Aquatic, it's an Oculus Rift game. You're a scuba diver going to dolphin school. Now, the interesting thing is scuba divers wear scuba masks, and the player wears a Oculus Rift. And so I feel like that, the fact that wearing a mask is part of the game adds further presence. But to be, fully present, I think, inside Classroom Aquatic, you'd almost want the player to be completely underwater or, wearing a scuba suit. And, obviously we don't have the technology or the feasibility to take presence that far, but it's something I think about sort of as a game designer, and sort of wish lists for things that I wish were possible. So let's talk a little bit more about presence in Neverending Nightmares. So firstly, I think you have to play with headphones. And I think the headphones especially makes you present because we use binaural audio. So we use OpenAL Mob, fork of OpenAL Soft, blah blah blah. It has these things called header-related transfer functions, and the idea is a sound in the game world is actually heard in 3D, and theoretically it can be better than actual surround sound. It's complicated. It depends on how well your ears match up with the models of the measurements that we're using for the header-related transfer function, and sometimes forward and back is a little hard to hear the difference from, but at least for our game, we're really optimizing the experience for headphones. I think one of the other problems, I love surround sound, I have 7.1, love it to death, but you really can't pick up on the little details with audio design, I feel like, just because, there's like ambient noise and occluders, and, you don't have the speakers right up to your ears, and so, like, I think you can have that sort of range of volumes and subtlety of sound in headphones. So we're really designing the experience around headphones, and the 3D audio, sort of simulated 3D audio, really helps to establish that presence. And so we're really excited about that. And then I think further things for presence in the game world is that there's no UI, there's no, well, I guess there's the pause UI, but in-game there's no button prompts, there's no HUD, it's all very engrossing, and then we just do the, you die, you wake up again. And so that keeps you in the game world, and I think that feeling of being in the game world and forgetting about this, you know, fat blob of a body. Well, I'm not calling you fat. I'm saying I'm fat. You know, is what presence is all about. But just personally, and again, this is sort of getting the crazy wish listy things. I mean, I feel like I would like the presence to extend further than, you know, an immersive screen, you know, right in front of your face. I mean, for Neverending Nightmares, certainly, you know, you can do cool things with VR if you have a 3D viewpoint game, but and I mean, I'd like to do some tests with VR sort of down the road, but we got to make the damn game first. But you know, beyond that and the audio, the visual and the audio, I feel like there's so much more to creating presence, and sort of the other senses are often overlooked. So, like for example, the way I would like Neverending Nightmares to be played is in being sort of cold, like a little uncomfortably cold. And I mean, I don't know if I can really advise you to turn up your AC or whatever, or turn off your heat. But I mean, like, to me, that's when the game sort of has its best feeling is when I'm, you know, a little cold, which doesn't happen very often in Southern California, but I don't know, if I have my fan cranked up or something, that's when I feel like, yes, this is the experience I want people to have. So, I don't know, we'll print up an instruction manual that says, you know, these are the temperatures that you're supposed to be. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, if you're interested in optimizing your experience, I feel like being cold, you know, really helps with the horror. And then, you know, I think smell it would be cool. And yeah, I don't think anyone has really mastered SmelloVision, but, I mean, there are ways to recreate smells, and it's funny because Joe and Adam are artists. Go to this horror convention and show off their masks and stuff. And apparently they have some horror thing where it smells like burnt flesh or something, and so then it makes them sick sitting next to the burnt flesh smell for a weekend. But I mean, things like that can be really cool, and like I got a really cool experience. I think I talked about like the Halloween's. I've found those sort of inspiring and interesting, and you know, they can do things with smells, you know, with a physical location. And I think, I mean, if I had to pick, you know, like if the controller had a little Smell-O-Vision pack, which I think someone said Microsoft was testing that for Xbox One, but assuming such a thing exists, I think, you know, if I had to pick a Smell-O-Vision pack, I think the smell that would be most important would be the smell of blood. You know, sort of like that dried blood smell, and if I could, you know, reproduce that, you know, in scenes, I think it would really give it more impact and give it more presence. I mean, because, you know, certainly some people get sort of queasy at the sight of blood, but I think more people get queasy at the sort of smell of blood, and so I think that would add a lot to the game. But again, you know, that is not feasible to you know, that I know of. If there's some Kickstarter that wants to create Smell-O-Vision or whatever, I'll support that in game. I think also, you know, sort of that musty house smell, you know, the old house smell, or even, you know, the sort of clinical hospital smells, things like that would really go a long way to establishing presence. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I heard somewhere that, like, smell is actually associated with memories or something, so, you know, you can actually have more of a response from a smell than just, you know, the visual location, so that would be neat. So yeah, play it, you know, cold. And, you know, certainly I try and do a lot of interesting things with Rumble, but one of the things, you know, it'd be neat if we could trigger sort of like a gust of wind at certain points. There was this weird, like, Philips Ambex thing. I don't know exactly what it was supposed to be, but I mean, the idea was it was like creating ambient light or ambient something or another's that would enhance your game, and I don't know whatever happened to it. But I think maybe they had fans or something, and that would be something really cool is, you know, trigger a gust of wind, and I mean, you know, ideally it'd be neat if you could do, you know, just the, like, breath on the back of your neck or something like that. But that seems complicated. But I feel like there was a thing at Disney World or Disneyland or something called the Alien Encounter, and basically it was a dark room, and then they did sort of things with sound and touch. You know, they had a wire that would sort of go across the back of your ankles or something, and I mean, I wouldn't say it was an overly scary experience. I mean, because they probably want it, you know, relatively kid friendly. But I feel like things like that can really create presence, and you know, I don't know if the Oculus people are thinking, you know, this far ahead, because I mean, obviously, just solving, you know, the VR viewpoint, and you know, the audio, although certainly head-related transfer functions can get you a long way with the audio. I think, well, I think those problems, you know, are challenging, and then all the other crazy things like feeling wet when you're playing Classroom Aquatic, and having someone breathe in the back of your neck in a cool and damp environment when playing Neverending Nightmares are not overly practical, and you know, are next generation experiences. But I think, boy, it'd be super cool. Maybe that's me, just me who would like that, you know, the smell of the smoke from the gun barrel or something. I don't know. Anyway, so that's just my crazy pie in the sky wish list of super duper triple next gen features to create immersion and presence. So anyway, thanks for watching.